Low tide. Not expecting flooding today, although it will get fairly high. 33 degrees, not quite freezing on our Sunday morning. But I think that's going to change. T-Rex, out the door. Let's check the ice bucket. Ooh, what do you know? Tiny bit of ice. So it looks like our thaw has ended. 4+ days of above freezing. Look at that. That's beautiful. See, I never know what I'm going to wake up to when I come out the door here. Just beautiful. Crystallization of H2O. What do you think of that, Steve? Watch out. That was funny. Not funny. Stop teasing the animals, Tim. Stop teasing the humans, Tim. When's it going to snow again? It was 1 week ago right now. We came out the door and it was raining and I was all upset because I thought it was going to be snowing. Let's try again this afternoon. Beautiful blue sky. This is subsidence between troughs of low pressure. It's not a high pressure system here in New England at all. It's actually a low pressure system. Oh, I had the camera too close to me. I think I just screwed up the audio. It's a low barometer cold. What that means, it's very unstable. We just happen to be in a little zone of subsidence right now where the air is sinking. But off to the west, the air is rising, and we have blizzards coming off the lakes there, Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. And in Buffalo, it's snowing so hard, they decided to move the Buffalo Bills Pittsburgh Steelers game to tomorrow because of a very isolated snowstorm. I was going to criticize the governor in New York for getting involved, but it really is snowing hard. Buffalo weather, great follow on Twitter. Yesterday, he was out there documenting it. This was yesterday. He had thunder snow. He was all excited. But it's not really pretty, though, if you're trying to travel on I-80. And today, those squalls continue. Anyhow, those snow bands off the Great Lakes are not what's impacting us. You look further to the east and south over Pennsylvania. There have been snow squall warnings in Puxatawney this morning. And these snow squalls are going to hold together and come through New England. It's a very unstable atmosphere. When they come through, they're going to be strengthening in the mid-afternoon when they come right over my house. So we're going to have, for the second Sunday in a row, about a 5-minute blizzard. Last week it was 20 minutes. This week it's going to be 5 minutes. We can look at the HRR, High Resolution Rapid Refresh, to see what's going on with these snow squalls. And you can see they're getting together and then they form, it looks like one strong squall coming right down the Massachusetts Turnpike. Upper left is the time. It's 19Z, 20Z, 21Z, coming right across Boston. 21 minus 5 is 16, minus 12 is 4. That's the kind of math you have to do when you look at these maps. 4 p.m. or so, a snow squall is going to come through here. It's going to challenge my flag. I'm going to leave it up. I'm going to do a time lapse on that. So that's just today. That will be the end of this thaw in the Boston area and the beginning of the deep freeze. You know, in the summertime, we talk about the ring of fire when you have a real big dome of hot weather and around the edges of it, you have all those thunderstorms. Well, we have the winter version of the ring of deep freeze, really dominated by two systems in Canada right now. In Western Canada, it's not quite as strong as yesterday, but it looks like a 1048 high in northwestern Canada, where the temperature, look closely, is 57 below zero in northwestern Canada this morning. And then in eastern Canada, you have the low from yesterday that went through New England at 983 millibars. And the gradient between those two is pushing that cold right down into the central United States. It's a little less cold this morning in Montana than yesterday morning. WX of MT, a great new Twitter follow I just found, says yesterday morning was the coldest morning near Great Falls, Montana since December of 1983. The coldest in about 40 years happening in Montana. And that cold is spreading south. You saw last night in Kansas City, they played in the cold, and it was fun to watch. I wouldn't want to have been there. It was 4 below zero. And today we have football. Where do we have football today? The Green Bay Packers are playing. Oh, they're in Dallas. Oh, wait, Dallas has a wind chill advisory and it's 14 degrees this morning? And there may be some light freezing mist or something like that in Dallas for the game this afternoon. I think it's the evening game. And what's the other one? I can't remember. I think Detroit may be playing, and that looks plenty cold and wintry. You go to the national map of advisories, watches, and warnings, and that deep gray blue is the wind chill advisory that's in effect all the way to Texas, where there is a winter storm warning now for East Texas and Louisiana. This is the edge of all that cold I'm talking about. Another look at the map using the National Weather Service surface map for this afternoon. There's the Arctic front extending from our storm from yesterday right down through New England all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. That's the leading edge of Arctic air, and because we have such a low barometer, it's really going to be unstable, and that's why we may have a gust to 50 or so with that snow squall here late today. And then we are on the cold side of that front until further notice. However, the high pressure system, the center of the coldest part of the high pressure system, is going to our south. That's unusual. Well, it's not that unusual in a high amplitude flow. So our cold air advection tomorrow is kind of from the west and southwest. It'll be much colder, say, in places like Missouri than it will be in Massachusetts. And in Florida, it's still fairly warm. Yesterday it was in the 80s in South Florida, while it was 50 below in Montana. Quite a gradient. And you're always going to have at least some kind of boundary on the edge of the cold. And we've been talking all last week about the potential for real strong storms cutting up through New England this week on Tuesday and or Friday. Well, that's changed now. It looks much more reasonable with weaker storms mostly passing south of Cape Cod, one Tuesday and one on Friday. So let's put that into motion in the lower 48, or should we put T-Rex indoors? I'm torn between trying to call the play-by-play on the next few days or putting you indoors. What's it going to be? Can you behave? T-Rex, come on, let's go. How are those forsythia doing over here? Remember we had those forsythia blooming? Oh, they're gone. If we had a little bit more weather, like the last couple days, they'd be back. But no, deep freeze. Okay, Rex, come on, let's go, let's go. We're gonna see. I'm gonna put him in. You're really gonna miss it. Oh, now the wind is picking up. Did you hear that gust just now? Wind, air, moving from high to low pressure. That's such a strong high that stretches from Western Canada right down to the southeastern United States. It's a massive dome of cold. And now, Steve's trying to take off. You're going to stay put. Lower 48, here we go, in motion. Arctic front goes through today with the snow squalls. Rain changes to snow before ending on Cape Cod. And then tomorrow, high pressure to our south. It's going to be gusty and windy with mixture sun and clouds. And there's going to be a wave of energy coming along out of Texas. Looks like it's snowing there in Alabama, Mississippi, and that's coming up. And it looks like the snow is going to come into New England on Monday night into Tuesday morning. And it's not that strong a low to our south, and there's low to our north. The same one that went by yesterday is retrograding. So it's not really a powerful nor'easter, but it may drop a quick few inches of snow all the way down to Nantucket, Martin. Maybe, could be. It could be a rain to snow on Nantucket. And then that takes off, and then we have high pressure once again building more to our west and south, and it's still extremely cold from Western Canada now moving into the Great Lakes. And here comes another one across the deep south on Thursday, and here it comes up on Friday, almost similar to what's going to happen on Wednesday. So instead of 3 severe storms in the next 7 days, we're going to get 2 moderate, more run-of-the-mill wintertime events with snow probably widespread for most of New England. Let's do the coast-to-coast snowfall accumulation forecast. Oh, the Northwest getting it again still. Down through the avalanche danger in Utah and Colorado is kind of off the charts right now. Anyhow, that comes to the east, and you get snows all the way down there into Louisiana. Are you kidding? And Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and then right up here into New England. Does not look like a huge amount of snow for the mountains to our north, but it looks like Cape Cod and the islands could, if this is accurate, get the most snow in New England in the next 10 days. Yeah, I know. You're all saying, we'll believe that when we see it. Come on. When are we ever wrong? Oh, there's so much going on. The wind on Mount Washington yesterday gusted to 111. By afternoon, it was down to 30 miles an hour. And then this morning, it was up to 80 miles an hour. And then by mid-morning, it was down to 45 miles an hour. So to say things are pulsing is an understatement. Top of Mount Washington picked up another foot of snow yesterday. Now 55 inches for the month of January. The average for all of January is 44 inches. So we're rebuilding that glacier. I think the liquid equivalent yesterday was more than 2 1/3 inches. So real heavy, dense snow. That's a great base, right? And And it was all about the flooding yesterday. You know, I talk about wind being air moving from high to low pressure. Well, water and tides is water moving more in tune with gravity. Yesterday, the sun and the moon were on the same side of Earth, so the bulge was extra strong due to gravity. And then you throw in the low pressure system that was so strong over the Great Lakes, that also sucks the water up even higher. That's called a storm surge, and there was a 3 to 4 foot storm surge on top of the astronomically already high tide. So that's what caused all that crazy flooding yesterday and back on Tuesday. Just a terrible situation near the coast. Fortunately for us, we had the offshore breeze, and it was not a devastating amount of water, but some of those homes right over there did get water into their lower levels. I think most of those houses are high enough that they don't have cellars or heaters down right at sea level. But the water, I went for a walk right along that Fort Point yesterday. I didn't make it out to Hull, it was just too far. And that boat, that skiff we talk about that's corkscrewed around its mooring line, just barely sticking up right now. I think it will be cold enough this week that we are going to have a good amount of ice forming around here. Not real thick ice, but it will be lined up along the shores. A quick look at that Boston 14-day temperature graphic. You can see we are done with the thaw. It is the deep freeze this week with a couple of opportunities for snow, including Cape Cod. You're headed north skiing. Yeah, I think very cold wind, but at least it looks like a little bit below threshold values. All right, kind of went around circles there. The Enmore yesterday, chasing the flood, the community coming together, some people driving their cars, 2 feet of water, why would you do that? And then all the rainbow pictures. Thank you, Charlie Bragdon in Scituate, in Weymouth, and there was the rainbows off of Scituate and everyone, but I think that the winner probably goes to you, Dennis in Winthrop, right over there. Can you see me, Dennis? He took this shot yesterday as the sun was going down. He says, "Surf's up, dog." He didn't even mention the rainbow. I saw the rainbow too. Surf is up too, by the way. And a lot of people are out there riding the surf. I am supposed to be surf ski weatherman, but I'm obviously much more ski focused right now. But the surf is up, and it'll stay up most of the week. Water temperature now is close to 40. The air temperature is close to 30. Fingers are freezing. All right, to the end more and more and more. Talk to you tomorrow. All right, just past noontime. It's supposed to be high tide at noon, and I don't know what I'm going to encounter over here. All right, looks like got water coming across George Lane Beach. Just one of many spots where there's going to be flooding. Obviously, those floats normally, you don't go up, you go down to get to them. So it's just one spot. No wind, but there's a total barometric pressure gradient. So this is a storm surge that's been pulled all the way in here on the back river in Hingham and Weymouth. That's freshwater right there. So after driving through the salt water, you might want to take a run through the fresh water to clean off the undercarriage and the brakes. So it's no blizzard of 1978 in southern New England. We have gentle water just coming up. Has to do with the barometric pressure. Very low pressure over the Great Lakes is literally sucking the ocean water up into the inlets. Now, fortunately, ours comes without wind and waves, but total different story once you get up into the Portland area, Portland, Maine, really taking it bad. So this is rivaling about December 23, 2022. We had flooding like this. Wait for the water to go down. It'll only be a couple of hours. I don't know, I'd guess maybe a 2 to 3 foot storm surge here. I'm gonna say this wall is degraded. That's an understatement. Checks from the big waves anyway, but there are no big waves here today. At least it's warm. The water's probably in the 40s, the air is in the 50s. And the first sunshine of the day above Great Hill here in Weymouth. Down here at Fort Point. Not good. Not as bad as Maine or New Hampshire, but some wet basements around here too. Without the big surf anyway. Waterfront property. It's picking up from the southwest now. Getting into the occluded air south of the Triple Point. Record high temperature today, 63, 1932. So weather has been extreme for longer than we have been alive. Those will dry out quickly. Blue sky just past high tide, and the sea level's not going to stop rising, so neither are the houses. Everyone likes to be near the water. The wind's picking up now. Looks like the tide has maxed out, I would say. By the look of the rack line. Problems. Mast over here. All good. Just floating. It's floated so far this season. Hopefully it doesn't go any higher this season. Be a lot of beachcombing going on the next couple days. Plowing snow last Sunday afternoon, major wind and rain on Tuesday, and now it's Saturday. We're having a flood, and then wind and rain, and a lot of places getting it a lot worse than here in the Hingham, Weymouth area. Turn Harbor. Floats are higher than the parking lot right now. So pretty much Fort Point turned into an island, and all the islanders are looking at the crossing to get back to the mainland, which looks like it's just now receding. One thing about the weather, though, it brings us out of our houses and we get to say hello to our neighbors for the first time in a while. Rather do it shoveling snow than salt water coming across the road. So I'm on the island side of Fort Point. Got some Atlantic Ocean between us and Great Hill. Regatta Road. It's George Lane Beach. Yeah. Is that electric? That'll be fine. No problem. Rinse that right out. Can't time those things. They just happen. That car will be fine.
It's not supposed to speed through. They think it's snow.
It's an electric car too.
It's supposed to go slow, not
or avoid it altogether, don't you think?
The speed up is just
that car's toast. He's done. He's broken down. He's out of his car. Bummer. She. It was fun though for a second, wasn't it? It still moves. It's a spectacle, all right. Blue sky. It's turned into a pretty nice day. It's close to 55 anyway. The water is a reflection of the sky. The ocean just crossed George Lane Beach, and it's receding now. BMW. Oh my God, money to spare. Why would you do that? Slow. Yes. He's got a lot more clearance than those other little cars. Still up to about the bottom of the door. Turn like this, we usually end up with a blizzard. I know that happened in 1996, 1978. There were a couple of them. Let's say we have two more opportunities in the next 5 days, Tuesday and Friday, near the polar vortex. It's only 1 o'clock and I've already done and more and more and more and more and more and more. Time to go to the packy. No way around it, really. Technically, I guess I can still make a snowball or an ice ball from last Sunday. We had a snowstorm 7 days ago. This is the third storm since then. We're gonna turn all this into ice over the next 36 hours though, aren't we? Excuse me, gulls. I know this is fresh water because I've been here a while and I know how much rain there's been. So I'm gonna just do a little rinse here if you don't mind. The fresh water. There's a car wash right up the road too. Rinse, rinse, rinse. Excuse me, pardon me. Excuse me. Thank you. Alright, that's it for flood patrol today. Tide's going out. It's not going to be a repeat performance tonight. Yeah, whichever side of the road you want. The pilgrims put their houses up on a hill for a purpose. The Pawtuxet. God. I wonder if the town does pump outs. 59 degrees, just back from flood coverage after 1 o'clock. We forgot about Steve. Oh no. Steve's probably really angry with me. Looks a little flustered. Sorry, Steve. I know. I know, Steve. I know. I'm sorry. It's beautiful though. Probably a lot of birds. Are you totally wrapped around? Yeah. Brutal. Brutal. Not fair, is it? Not fair. This one has to go inside to go to the bathroom. This one has to come outside. Sorry, Steve. T-Rex. Open the door for Steve. Coming. I really apologize. I'm sorry, Steve. I get so caught up in the weather. Where's Rex? Go ahead, Rex. In the door. Just about sunset. The tide's been going out now for about 3.5 hours. But it's left residue and a high water mark. All the way up here to the truck. And there's the rack line. Set up a little barrier here. All right, it's cleanup time. This is nothing compared to what has to be done in Maine though. Pretty sad situation. Subsidence ahead of the squall line, blue sky. What's that thing? Yeah, change the oil. All good.
Yeah.
Out the door, I just saw some raindrops, I think. Oh, it's rainbow. Yep, you can't predict these things. I did not know there was going to be a rainbow. Just stumbling upon rainbows and stuff lately. Anyhow, that's what happens when you get these April showers in January and the sun's out. And the snow level pretty high here, otherwise the bottom of that cloud would be white. So the data just keeps on giving more and more and more. All right, so this one's made out of rain, but next up they're gonna be made out of snow. I'm getting the rinse treatment now. Sunset at Burt's. Pouring. The sun's out, it's pouring, so what else? More and more and more. Full rainbow. A disc of light. And if you saw one from up in the sky, it'd be a complete circle. I'm getting soaked. More and more and more. Jupiter and the moon. And a new cold air mass.